Like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 1K. And for those who did,
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Let's go.
You are watching a master at work.
what makes a top player one of the best? Well, according to Google, it's mental resilience, adaptability, consistency, execution, dedication. It's not that deep. Just be good and be consistent. But specifically in Serie A, I'm noticing a trend amongst the top players, the players who we should be holding in high regard. And let's start off with Tammy Abraham, who left Chelsea in search of more playing time, ended up at Roma under Mourinho to become their main number 9 after Dzeko left. And in his first season, the guy looked so promising, had decent holder play, the guy started putting up numbers, started scoring some interesting goals, very dominant in the air, admittedly stat padded against the Conference League teams, and almost looked like a bargain at 40 million. As soon as that first season finished, this guy fell off dramatically. Couldn't control a ball, missing easy chances, and then unfortunately he got an ACL. And after the ACL, you would think, can he go back to the first season form at Roma? But nope, it seemed as if he just went right back to the player that he was right before the injury, which was a very poor player. Looking like the 40 mil they spent on him was a waste of money. Let's move on to Chiesa, who was seen almost as a golden child at Fiorentina, and his name was consistently being speculated as to where he'll move next. Either Inter or Juve, whichever one it would be for big money. But nonetheless, he would get a move to Juve, and in his first season alongside Ronaldo, the guy would go crazy. He would almost look like the main man for Juve, specifically in the Champions League. And he had a very good overall first season. And you would only think, the sky's the future, this guy's the next big Italian player. Also had a very good performance in the Euro 2020, helping Italy win the trophy. But in the second season, he ends up getting an ACL, and then he just looked like a shadow of the player that he was. I'll give him some grace on the second season, coming back after having to deal with an injury like an ACL. But the guy just looked like a shadow of himself, to the point where in the third and fourth season, it wouldn't even make no sense to even have him on the pitch. He was so ineffective that he almost hurts your eyes at times watching him play. So we could consider him a flop. Let's move on to Osimhen. And this guy came for a big price tag in 70 plus mil to Napoli. And in his first season, he was doing very good. Not necessarily living up to the price tag, but he was showing a lot of glimpses. But then he would eventually get his infamous facial structure injury, which led to the mask. And with the mask comes big responsibility. Because in his second season, this guy would go off. He would actually lose his mind, to the point where he was being discussed as one of the best number 9s in the world. Almost everything he hit went in, very dominant in the air, very good link-up play. For instance, this goal versus Roma, oh my god, that was beautiful. And with such a great run of form, Napoli would end up winning the league. But in the third season, it's almost as if anyone who put chips in this guy would be looked at as fraudulent. He decided to stat pad against the worst teams in the league. No Milans, no Inters, no Juves, no Romas. His overall work rate declined drastically, to the point where Napoli was demanding 110 mil from all the top teams in the world, Chelsea, Madrid, only for him to leave for 70 mil to Galatasaray. Let's stay in Napoli and talk about Vara, aka Varadona, aka Kvaratskhelia, aka... Okay, enough. His name was already being mentioned as one to watch by a specific Fabrizio Romano.
I met one person 3 months ago, told me, Fabrizio, look at Wisła Kvaratskhelia. I was looking at him and I can say, who's gonna sign this player will sign one of the best talents around.
And I also remember seeing some links of him being linked to a couple Italian clubs before he eventually got his move to Napoli. And this guy would end up going viral every week, for whether that's putting the ball back to a couple players' legs, scoring a crazy goal. But the main talking point of him was his massive contribution to Napoli winning the league alongside Osimhen. They almost had a Batman and Robin type vibe and look unstoppable. But then the second season came and boy oh boy, this guy decided to down tools massively. Apparently it's based on him wanting more money, because I think he was only in 20 grand a week. Started twerking for PSG and overall looked like a shadow of the player that we saw the season before. But in the third season, when Conte would come in, you would think, oh my god, this guy's about to go back to his best. Nope, he started performing the same exact way, looked disinterested, to the point where I think he was pretty poor in his final half season. He eventually got his move to PSG, but I don't think Napoli really missed him. And let's go back to the most successful team in Italy, in Juve, when they decided to spend 80 mil on Vlahovic, which admittedly looked like a very good move in January 2022. He was also being chased heavily by Arsenal, so I guess that would make the price tag shoot up. But this guy was on fire in Fiorentina. I remember when he destroyed Milan in a 4-3 win. And again, he was another player. Everything he hit, clean finishing, good in the air, strong, fast. Everything about him was just the next big number 9. He got his move to Juve and the signs were early. Playing under Allegri in a terrible Juve team at the time, he ended up going from free-flowing football under Italiano to very rigid, tight, non-expressive football under Allegri. and almost instantly the service dried up. But he would still end the season pretty decently, taking his total tally to about 24. In the second season, he had a lot of hype around him. Can he do it at a big club for a full season? Can he lead Juve to glory? And that would be very evident that he couldn't. Guy started losing the ball so many times, simple passes into him. The ball just bounces off of him, where he almost looked like a joke, and already was being spoken about as did Juve waste 80 mil on him. Also had a couple injury problems, but that might be an anomaly. Let's give him a season off. It is what it is. In the third season, it would be more of the same. As with less injuries, he got a couple more goals, yes, but the overall play, the maverick that was needed for him to take the club to the next level or go back to where they belong was not there. It was very evident. And now the numbers he's putting up is his level. He's not this top level player that we once thought. Let's go to Milan, the red and black side of Milan. We'll start off with Theo Hernandez. This guy was phenomenal in his first couple seasons for Milan. Earned the nickname Hype Train Theo Hernandez because that guy literally ran through teams, just taking the ball all the way from defense, running all the way to the attack. But it was very apparent that he had defensive lapses, which eventually got better over time, specifically in the season that Milan won the league, with a massive contribution coming from him. And we can never forget this amazing goal he scored versus Atalanta. But then, when you have a player of his caliber, who's a defender who's known more for his attacking output than his defensive ability, when the attacking output dries up, the defensive ability will be exposed even more. And that was very evident last season when he cost the team a domestic cup by having a defensive lapse, leaving the player onside, which eventually led to the goal. Then not only that, in the Champions League, team is up 1-0, 1-1 on aggregate, and based on the trajectory, it's looking like the team was going to get a second goal. He decides to dive already on a yellow card. Gets a second yellow, gets sent off, which leads to the team losing the tie because Feyenoord gets another goal, sending Milan out of the Champions League in the UCL playoffs versus Feyenoord. But let's move on to his left wing counterpart in Rafa Leao, and this guy is a baller. The ballerest of ballers. Top player. After a tough first season, he would have his breakout year in the second season when he would help Milan win the league, scoring 11 goals and giving 10 assists. And not only just the GA for the GA merchants, he was putting in phenomenal performances as well, almost carrying the team on his back. That was one of the best individual seasons I've ever seen from a player. It's up there with the Ibrahimovic 2010-11 season. It's up there with the Lukaku 2021 season. Just a phenomenal season from Leao. In the 22-23 season, Milan would fall off drastically, finishing 5th on the pitch, but Leao would still keep up his performances, carrying the team on his back again with a far worse team, scoring 15 goals and getting 10 assists. And again, performances matched the numbers. It wasn't just numbers and then poor performances. But after this season, that's where it gets a little spooky, as the season after, Pulisic comes in and takes a lot of the pressure off of Leao's shoulders, leading to his numbers dropping. And the same would happen the season after. But also I think Leao dropped off a little bit overall. He's still a good player, but I don't think he's reached the heights of an undeniable world-class player that we thought we were going to see based off the 2 seasons that I mentioned earlier. Now, does he have time to reach those levels? Yes. But does he want to reach those levels? I don't know. Now let's move to the blue and black side of Milan in Lautaro Martinez. So this guy, on the surface, you would see him and go, yeah, he's definitely a world-class striker. He's definitely a world-class player. So this guy broke out alongside Lukaku when Inter won the league in 2021. And when Lukaku left, there was a lot of question marks of, can he take the mantle on? Can he be the main guy? And he adapted very well, being the main guy, getting the captain's armband, showing that he could be the main man for a big team. Putting up impressive numbers, 24 goals, 21 goals. And you're going, oh my God, he's him. He's a 100 mil plus player. But the Champions League numbers said something else, because he very rarely turned up when Inter needed him in the Champions League, which is something that he would rectify in the 24-25 season. But then in the league, he only scored 12 goals. Looked fraudulent last season, looked poor last season. And then this season, as of recording, he has 14 goals. Do you want to guess how much he has against these teams on screen right now? 1 yellow card. Now I know you may be thinking, yeah, that's yellow cards, but why didn't you say the goals? Because that's all there is to mention. The guy's ducking smoke. He already had a little bit of a reputation for dunking on small teams. This season officially confirmed it. No goals versus Atletico, no goals versus Milan, no goals versus Napoli, no goals versus any team you think is decent in Serie or in Champions League. he's not doing anything against them. And the Inter fans might say, as long as he's helping us win games, it doesn't matter. And I guess, but that just lets me know he'll never win you the Champions League. Now from the striker all the way to the goalkeeper, and Jan Sommer, who in his first season was a world-class keeper. Inter got him for only 6 mil due to some release clause in his contract. After selling Onana for 50 mil, and everyone went, this is brilliant business. This guy was so good. He even got nominated for the best goalkeeper. Ended up finishing third ahead of Thibaut Courtois. Okay, this was the levels that he was playing at. And who could forget last season in the semi-final versus Barca, the amount of saves this guy had made to keep Inter in the tie. But this season, he's been on fraud watch. Making mistakes versus Juve, mistakes versus Milan. And it's at the point where people are asking for the backup keeper to play ahead of him. But overall, I think a lot of these players are still very good players in Leao, Martinez, Osimhen, Vara, and some maybe not so good in Chiesa, Tammy. And who knows what will happen to Vlahovic when he leaves Juve at the end of the season. Special mention to Edison, who by now should have been a regular in the Brazil team, but somehow he has Joe Linton and Paqueta playing over him, which is crazy to me. Also Bongiorno, who was a monster last season. The guy looked like the next great Italian center-back. We're talking Nestas, we're talking Chiellinis, we're talking Cannavaros. Then it should have been Bongiorno, but no, it's not going to be Bongiorno, because this season he's been atrocious. He's been very bad. And Napoli fans are calling asking, how is this guy even starting still? But anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.